taking their oath seriously.
Right.
You will never see them mentioning of any of this. What they want is they want to pick a couple of bad apples and portray the entire movement, all the dissent, based on that model. Now, I have heard that you are planning, Sheriff, to have a very strong rally to bring the attention, because the right attention hasn't been brought to this case. And I really salute that, and I want to hear more about that. But I also want to mention, I'm a woman. I know the mainstream media liberals want to make that these are the anti-women, okay? And I don't know, I have olive skin. I've come from a bunch of countries that are, considered Middle Eastern and of different religion. And I have to tell you, living under tyranny in those countries in some way was not as bad as what I see happening to this country.
Absolutely.
While we lived under tyranny, everybody agreed that we were under tyranny. Nobody pretended otherwise, and there was always this hope for some sort of change or revolution to overturn a certain monarchy, erect democracy, maybe emulate something like constitution. This is far more dangerous, because you're looking at the majority living under the assumption that their constitution still holds true, and that they are the nation of the free, and that this is a government, federal government, that operates based on the notion of we the people, a government of the people, for the people, by the people, and that lulls them to the sleep. And say we can sit back and let them handle things, and they are putting up with everything. So this is far more dangerous than living under an overt tyranny. So now the fact that you're planning hundreds of sheriffs, okay, with their impeccable records, pro-constitution rallying, I think is going to go a long way. If it's covered by the media, I know that they're going to censor it, but we are here, and there are some alternative media outlets who will cover that to undo some of the damage the mainstream media has done to the voices of dissent, and to show that, are you going to consider these guys thugs? Okay, you're looking at hundreds of sheriffs, and they're marching, and they're saying enough is enough. Because I don't know how long we can wait. We have been waiting, and everything has gotten worse and worse and worse. And now all the constitutional liberties and rights that we've had are considered certain privileges that sometimes may be granted to us to exercise, rather than absolute rights given to us under the law that is supposed to be governing this nation. And the founding fathers, when they came up with this constitution, when they put it together, they didn't say we are putting together a set of laws for this nation that are going to be conditional or circumstantial. These were absolute laws of this land. So to say we are going to suspend First Amendment during the war on terror, we're going to go ahead and take away the Second Amendment when we see some crisis, couple of those, who knows how many of them are real, how many of them are made up. Well, that is acting as the enemy of the Constitution. And I took the oath. I work for the government. This is a country that I chose. The other ones, I was born into them. I was taken by my family. This one I chose. I took that oath, and I'm taking that oath seriously. And that oath says, it doesn't talk about any enemies across the borders. It specifically says those enemies of the constitutions, the enemies that threaten constitution. And it upholding that oath and saying we will fight against those enemies. And I'm looking around, whether it's Al-Qaeda, whether it's ISIS, whether it's whatever it is, none of them are really threatening our constitution. We need to fight them. But the only threat that I have seen, and I'm not an expert, okay, but I'm coming from different countries, the only threat, the only assaults that I have seen on the constitution have come from the federal government. So please tell us about this rally you're organizing, and how the coverage of it, and what it is you're trying to accomplish with this rally. Jared?
Well, we're trying to show a lot of support for Sheriff Palmer, and we want to bring in some very popular and public sheriffs, like Sheriff David A. Clark from Wisconsin, who's on Fox News probably 2 or 3 times a week, and has his own show on The Blaze. and then Sheriff Rogers from Indiana, Sheriff Finch from Florida, and Sheriff Noel, maybe one or two from Utah, and maybe a couple of former sheriffs who have been in the public's eye in the last several years. But we're only going to do this maybe with 6, 7, or 8 sheriffs across the country, and then including myself and some of our staff at the CSPOA. So this is plain and simply going to give the public and media an opportunity to interview us all. We'll make some opening statements, obviously, in support of Sheriff Palmer, and to give our opinions about the ridiculous charges and complaints being leveled against him. And then the people of Grant County will have an opportunity to ask us all, and we can give our opinions about who Sheriff Palmer is and the power of the sheriff, and how well the people of Grant County have been served by this good man. And so when other sheriffs come in to support Sheriff Palmer, I think it'll carry a lot of weight, especially if we can get all those sheriffs there. And I think we can, and I think all of those sheriffs will. Most of the sheriffs I just mentioned, including Sheriff Palmer, have all been named Constitutional Sheriffs of the Year by our association. CSPOA Sheriffs of the Year, Sheriff Palmer, Sheriff Finch, Sheriff Christopher from Delaware, and Sheriff David A. Clark Jr., and Sheriff Rogers from Indiana. Those are the top 5 in the country. And now one of our top ones, Sheriff Noel from Utah. We'll probably name him. He's on the list to be named the next one. And so we want all those sheriffs in one place for solidarity and support of this good sheriff, Glenn Palmer. So I don't know how much longer you want me to stay on, because I've got to get going here pretty soon. But
no, that's fine. When will this be taking place, or when can we look forward?
We're working with Sheriff Palmer to find a location and a date, but I would say it's going to be within the next 10 days to 2 weeks.
Well, that sounds excellent. We'll be keeping an eye on that and providing updates. Absolutely, because if we all don't hang together, we hang separate. So it's very important when we see overreach and tyranny taking place, we have to speak up, because they're going to continue to go after the patriots. They're going to continue to go after constitutional sheriffs or anyone that gets in their way.
Right.
So, well, anything else, Sibel? I'm going to wrap this up here.
Actually, no, I was going to have one quick request. I know this is the sheriffs getting together and making the point and coming in support of Sheriff Palmer, but do you have any kind of a final message for the viewers here, for the American public, as sheriffs for Constitution, as people who really want to uphold the law, the real law, the law that actually matter for our liberties and for our real safety? What would you say, and what would you see happen with the American people? And when we say, oh, well, we want people to be informed, we want them to wake up. I know everyone has been saying that, but it's time for action. And if you were to say, when citizens, they look at you and they say, yes, but I am John Doe, what can I do? You know, what can we do? We are nobodies. What can we do? What would be your message to them,
well,
Sheriff?
my message to that is plain and simply, get involved with us at the CSPOA. And I'll tell you why. It's not about the organization. It's about the cause. And we are probably the sheriffs are all the last line of defense, but our movement within the constitutional sheriff movement is probably the last remaining peaceful and effective and immediate solution that the American people have left. And we cannot do that without the American people being involved. As you mentioned, this government is supposed to be by, for, and of the people. If we don't have the people involved in this process, the most important aspect and facet of our government is we, the people, the first 3 words of the Constitution. And so we ask you to get involved with us. Be involved with your sheriff. Vet your sheriff. Let me know how we can help you with that. In fact, if you'll email me at sheriffmack@hotmail, sheriffmack@hotmail.com, I'll send you our vetting documents. Become a member of the CSPOA at cspoa.org so we can keep you informed what we're doing. We're going to need your support when we go out to Sheriff Palmer. That doesn't mean all of you will be attending, but there's ways to make sure that we pay for the airfare of all the sheriffs and other people that are coming from all over the country so that we can get behind Sheriff Palmer. We all have a role in this. We all have a duty and responsibility in this. So please get involved. As Patrick Henry called it, the holy cause of liberty. If there was ever a time, we need everybody involved in that. It's now.
That's right. The time is now, people. And I want to thank both of my guests for joining me here today, Sheriff Richard Mack and Sibel Edmonds. I'm going to provide links below. You can check out all of their information, all their work, to their websites, and much more. So till next time, this is Spiro. I'll keep you guys posted about the upcoming rally that's going to be taking place there in Grant County. Thank you.